Before we begin, please like, follow, and subscribe for more haunted, terrifying stories. New Jersey is often seen through highways, shore towns, diners, and quiet suburbs. But beneath that familiar surface is another version of the state, older, darker, and far more unsettling. From colonial mansions and abandoned roads to prison cells, forests, battlefields, and seaside hotels, New Jersey is filled with places where history refuses to stay buried. Some of these locations are tied to documented tragedy. Others survive through generations of whispered stories, local legends, and late-night dares. These are the places where footsteps are heard in empty halls, shadows move where no one is standing, and roads seem to lead somewhere they should not. Tonight, we count down the top 10 most haunted locations in New Jersey. Number 10. The Proprietary House, Perth Amboy. Elegant, once royal, yet uneasy. Footsteps in empty rooms, doors that move, and a past that refuses to rest. Built in the 1760s, the Proprietary House was originally intended as the residence for the Royal Governor of New Jersey. It stands as the only remaining official royal governor's mansion from the original 13 colonies, which already gives the building a rare and uneasy presence. Long before New Jersey became a state, this house was connected to political tension, colonial power, and the looming conflict that would become the American Revolution. Its most famous resident was William Franklin, the last royal governor of New Jersey and the son of Benjamin Franklin. Unlike his father, William remained loyal to the British Crown, a decision that tore his family apart and placed him on the wrong side of revolutionary history. After the war, the house changed hands many times, serving different purposes across the centuries. But according to those who have spent time inside, the past never fully left. Visitors and staff have reported hearing unexplained footsteps moving across upper floors, even when the building is empty. Doors are said to open and close on their own. Some have described the feeling of being watched from the staircase or from darkened rooms where no one else is present. One of the most common stories involves the apparition of a woman believed by some to be a former resident. She is said to appear briefly and then vanish, as if still moving through the house according to routines from another lifetime. Others claim to have seen shadows drifting near windows or disappearing around corners. The haunting of the Proprietary House is not known for violent encounters or dramatic attacks. Instead, it has the atmosphere of something lingering, something restrained. It feels less like a place invaded by spirits and more like a place still occupied by memory. And in a house that witnessed loyalty, betrayal, war, and loss, that memory runs deep. Number 9. The Emlyn Physic Estate, Cape May. Ornate, preserved, yet uneasy. Footsteps in parlors, perfume in empty halls, and a lingering presence that turns beauty into dread. Cape May is known for its colorful historic homes, ocean air, and old-world charm. But behind the beauty of the town is a long reputation for ghost stories. Few places capture that better than the Physic Estate, an 18-room Victorian mansion built in 1879. The house was home to Dr. Emlyn Physic, his mother, and his 2 aunts. Although the mansion is elegant, there is something heavy about it. Its steep roofs, narrow windows, and unusual architectural details give it a distinctly Gothic feeling. Even in daylight, it looks like the kind of house that might keep secrets. Over the years, staff members, visitors, and paranormal investigators have reported strange activity throughout the property. Footsteps have been heard on staircases when no one is there. Doors have reportedly moved without being touched. Some people claim to smell perfume that appears suddenly and disappears just as quickly. One of the most well-known stories involves the presence of Dr. Physic himself. Some believe his spirit still remains inside the mansion, quietly moving through the rooms he once knew. Others have reported sensing the presence of the women who lived there, especially in the upper floors and bedrooms. The estate is also known for reports involving animals. Dr. Physic was said to have loved dogs, and some visitors claim to have heard the sounds of unseen paws moving across the floor. Others have described the feeling of an animal brushing past them, even when no animal is present. What makes the Emlyn Physic Estate so unsettling is the contrast between its beauty and its atmosphere. From the outside, it appears preserved and picturesque. Inside, the silence can feel strangely occupied. Cape May be a vacation town, but the Physic Estate reminds visitors that not every resident of the shore has checked out. Number 8. The Hermitage, Ho-Ho Coos. Elegant yet uneasy, the Hermitage breathes with history. Footsteps on empty stairs, sudden chills, and soft whispers suggest its revolutionary guests still walk the halls after dark. The Hermitage began as a colonial home and became closely tied to the American Revolution. During the war, it hosted major historical figures, including George Washington and Alexander Hamilton. It was also the site of romance, grief, and family tragedy, all of which have helped feed the home's haunted reputation. One of the central stories connected to the Hermitage involves Theodosia Prevost, who lived there during the Revolutionary period. She eventually married Aaron Burr, one of the most controversial figures in American history. Their story adds another layer of emotional weight to the house, connecting it to war, ambition, scandal, and loss. But the ghost stories are what keep people coming back. Visitors and staff have reported unexplained sounds inside the building, including footsteps, knocks, and the movement of objects. Some say they have seen figures in period clothing appear briefly before vanishing. Others describe cold spots in rooms that otherwise feel normal. One of the most frequently discussed spirits is said to be a woman in white. She has reportedly been seen on the staircase or near the windows, appearing just long enough to make witnesses question what they saw. Some believe she may be connected to the families who once lived there. Others think she is a symbolic figure created by the many tragedies and emotional events tied to the house. The Hermitage feels haunted not only because of reported activity, but because of its age. The rooms are filled with the weight of generations. People lived, loved, argued, mourned, and died there. Those experiences seem to have soaked into the walls. In a state filled with revolutionary history, the Hermitage stands out as a place where the past does not feel distant. It feels close enough to hear walking in the next room. Number 7. Burlington County Prison, Mount Holly. Built in 1811, the prison operated for more than 150 years before closing in 1965. During that time, it held countless inmates, including thieves, murderers, debtors, and those awaiting execution. The building was designed with thick stone walls, cramped cells, iron doors, and a feeling of absolute confinement. Unlike mansions or historic homes, Burlington County Prison was never meant to be comfortable. It was built to hold people in fear, isolation, and punishment. That atmosphere remains. The prison is especially known for stories connected to the old death row and the gallows. Public executions were once held at the site, and some believe the emotional residue from those final moments still clings to the building. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied voices echoing through the corridors. Footsteps are said to move along the cell blocks when no one is walking there. Some people claim to have heard cell doors slam shut by themselves. Others report sudden cold spots, feelings of dread, or the sensation of being followed. One of the prison's most infamous figures was Joel Clough, a convicted murderer who was executed there in the 1830s. According to legend, his spirit may still haunt the prison. Some stories claim he left behind messages or markings before his death, adding to the eerie mythology surrounding his cell. What makes Burlington County Prison so powerful as a haunted site is that it does not need exaggeration. The building itself is enough. Narrow corridors, heavy doors, stone rooms where men waited for sentences, judgment, and death. If ghosts are drawn to places of suffering, then Burlington County Prison has more than a century of reasons to be haunted. Number 6. Ringwood Manor. Ringwood. Ringwood Manor sits in the Ramapo Mountains and has roots stretching back to the colonial era. The area was once important for iron production, especially during the American Revolution, when iron from the region helped supply the war effort. Over time, the property became home to wealthy families, including the Cooper and Hewitt families, who shaped the estate into the manor that stands today. But behind the beauty of the grounds is a haunting reputation that has lasted for decades. Ringwood Manor is often described as a place where the atmosphere changes from room to room. Some visitors report sudden cold areas, strange sounds, and the feeling of unseen people nearby. Others claim to have seen apparitions in or around the house, including figures dressed in clothing from earlier centuries. One of the most famous ghost stories connected to the manor involves a woman believed to be a former servant or resident. She is said to appear near the house or in the surrounding grounds, sometimes vanishing when approached. There are also reports of unexplained footsteps inside the building and sounds that seem to come from empty rooms. The grounds themselves add to the unease. The manor is surrounded by woods, old paths, and remnants of its industrial past. It is easy to imagine workers, servants, family members, and visitors moving through the property over generations, each leaving something behind. Ringwood Manor is not just a haunted house, it is a haunted landscape. The iron mines, the old estate, the forest, and the long family histories all blend together into one unsettling atmosphere. Some places feel haunted because of one tragedy. Ringwood Manor feels haunted because too many lives pass through it to ever be completely gone. Number 5. The Spy House, Port Monmouth. The house dates back to the 1700s and sits near the Raritan Bay. Its nickname, the Spy House, comes from stories that it was used during the Revolutionary War as a place to observe British movements. Whether every legend attached to the house is historically certain or not, its reputation as a haunted location is deeply rooted in New Jersey folklore. For decades, the Spy House was known as one of the most haunted buildings in the state. Stories about it spread through books, local legends, television features, and word of mouth. It became the kind of place people talked about in lowered voices. The hauntings said to occur there are varied and intense. Witnesses have claimed to hear footsteps, voices, and unexplained knocking. Some have reported seeing apparitions of children, women, and Revolutionary-era figures. Others describe the sound of crying or the feeling of being touched by something unseen. One of the most repeated stories involves a ghostly woman who appears inside the house or near the windows. Another involves the presence of children, whose spirits are said to linger in certain rooms. Some accounts also describe darker, more oppressive sensations in parts of the building, as if not every presence there is gentle. The house's location adds to its eerie character. It stands near the water, where fog and salt air can make the landscape feel dreamlike. At night, the old structure seems caught between the bay and the past. The Spy House has been debated, restored, closed, reopened, and reinterpreted over time, but its haunted reputation remains. Whether one sees it as a historic house surrounded by legend or a genuine paranormal hotspot, it has earned its place in New Jersey ghost lore. Few haunted locations in the state have inspired as many stories, and few have left such a lasting impression on those who grew up hearing them. Number 4. Shades of Death Road, Warren County. Located in Warren County, this rural road has become one of New Jersey's most infamous haunted legends. The name alone is enough to attract curiosity, but the stories surrounding it are even darker. There are several theories about how Shades of Death Road got its name. Some say it came from violent crimes committed in the area. Others connect it to deadly outbreaks of disease, dangerous conditions, or conflicts in the surrounding wilderness. Over time, fact and folklore blended together, creating a reputation that feels larger than any single explanation. The road winds through a quiet wooded landscape. During the day, it may seem like a strange but ordinary country road. At night, the mood changes completely. Trees crowd the edges. Darkness settles heavily. The name begins to feel less like a curiosity and more like a warning. Paranormal stories connected to Shades of Death Road include ghostly figures seen along the roadside, strange lights moving through the trees, and the feeling of being watched from the woods. Some people claim to have seen apparitions near nearby bodies of water, especially around Ghost Lake, a location whose name only deepens the legend. Drivers have reported unexplained mists, shadowy shapes, and sudden feelings of panic. Others say that cameras and electronic devices malfunction in certain areas. The road has also attracted urban legends involving murder, revenge, and restless spirits. What makes Shades of Death Road so effective as a haunted location is its simplicity. It is not a mansion, not a prison, not a museum. It is a road, a place people pass through, and that is what makes it unsettling. Roads are supposed to take us somewhere, but this one feels like it remembers everyone who never made it home. Number 3. The Pine Barrens, South Jersey. Covering more than 1 million acres, the Pine Barrens are one of the most mysterious landscapes in the eastern United States. The region is filled with dense forests, sandy roads, abandoned settlements, dark waterways, and long stretches where the modern world seems to disappear. The Pine Barrens are beautiful, but they can also feel deeply isolating. Cell service fades. Roads twist into the trees. Ruins appear where towns once stood. It is the kind of place where silence becomes its own presence. And then there is the Jersey Devil, the most famous legend in New Jersey folklore. The Jersey Devil is said to haunt the Pine Barrens as a winged, hoofed creature with a terrifying cry. The legend is often connected to the Leeds family in the 1700s, with one version claiming that a cursed child transformed into a monstrous creature and fled into the forest. Over the centuries, sightings of the Jersey Devil have become part of New Jersey's identity. Witnesses have described strange animal-like figures, glowing eyes, wings, hooves, and screams heard deep in the woods. During the famous wave of sightings in 1909, reports spread across the region, causing panic in some communities and cementing the creature's place in American folklore. But the Pine Barrens are haunted by more than one legend. The region contains ghost towns, abandoned mills, forgotten cemeteries, and places where entire communities vanished after industries collapsed. Towns like Batstow remain preserved, while others have been swallowed by forest. These ruins create a sense that the land is quietly reclaiming human history. People who explore the Pine Barrens often describe strange noises, distant voices, lights in the trees, and the feeling of being followed. Some stories involve phantom vehicles on empty roads. Others involve figures seen near old ruins or cemeteries. The Pine Barrens are terrifying because they are vast. In a haunted house, fear is contained. In the Pine Barrens, it stretches for miles. If New Jersey has a supernatural heart, it beats somewhere in those dark pines. Number 2. Clinton Road, West Milford. Clinton Road has everything a haunted location needs: isolation, strange history, dangerous curves, dark woods, abandoned structures, and decades of terrifying stories. Stretching through a remote area of Passaic County, the road has become a magnet for ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and anyone drawn to the darker side of local folklore. The legends surrounding Clinton Road are numerous. One of the most famous stories involves a ghost boy near a bridge. According to the legend, if someone tosses a coin into the water below, the ghost of a young boy may throw it back. Some versions say the child drowned there. Others say he was struck by a car. The details change, but the story remains one of the road's defining legends. Another well-known story involves phantom vehicles. Drivers have claimed that mysterious headlights appear behind them late at night, following closely before vanishing without explanation. Some describe being chased by a black truck that seems to come from nowhere. Others say the vehicle disappears the moment they reach a certain point on the road. There are also stories of strange creatures in the woods, abandoned buildings, occult activity, and eerie figures standing near the tree line. The road's reputation grew even darker because of real crimes connected to the area, including the discovery of human remains nearby in the 1980s. That real-world darkness gave the legends an even sharper edge. Clinton Road is unsettling because it feels removed from ordinary New Jersey. The trees press close. The road seems longer than it should. At night, every bend feels like it could reveal something standing in the headlights. Many haunted places ask you to enter a building. Clinton Road asks you to keep driving. And for those who have experienced something there, the fear is not only what they saw, it is the thought that something may have followed them out. Number 1. The Devil's Tree, Bernard's Township. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary tree standing in a field, but its reputation is anything but ordinary. The Devil's Tree has been surrounded by disturbing legends for generations, and it remains one of the most feared paranormal sites in the state. The tree is associated with stories of death, violence, curses, and strange phenomena. According to local legend, it was once used for hangings, suicides, or other acts of tragedy. Some stories claim that people who disrespect or damage the tree suffer misfortune afterward. Others say the area around it feels unnaturally cold, even in warm weather. One of the most repeated claims is that snow does not settle properly around the base of the tree, or that the ground near it remains strangely bare. Another legend says that anyone who attempts to cut it down will meet with disaster. Over time, these stories have turned the tree into something more than a haunted landmark. It has become a symbol of New Jersey's darker folklore. People who have visited the Devil's Tree often describe a heavy atmosphere. Some report sudden chills, nausea, headaches, or a feeling of intense dread. Others claim to have seen shadowy figures nearby or heard unexplained sounds when no one else was around. There are also stories of a phantom black truck or car that appears near the area, sometimes chasing away visitors. Like many details attached to haunted places, the story changes depending on who tells it, but the fear behind it remains consistent. What makes the Devil's Tree so disturbing is that it is not hidden inside a ruin or buried deep in a forest. It is simple, exposed, almost plain. And yet people continue to speak about it as if something is wrong with the land itself. The Devil's Tree represents the kind of haunting that does not need walls, windows, or locked doors. It is a place where legend has become attached to the earth, and where the ordinary shape of a tree has been transformed into something people fear to approach. That is why it earns the number 1 spot. Because in New Jersey, few haunted places have inspired so much dread from something so still. New Jersey's haunted history is not limited to one kind of place. It lives in colonial mansions, prison corridors, seaside estates, forgotten forests, and lonely roads where the headlights never seem bright enough. Some of these stories come from documented history. Others come from folklore passed down through generations. But together they reveal a darker map of the Garden State, one shaped by war, tragedy, isolation, and the human need to explain what lingers after death. Whether these places are truly haunted or simply carrying the emotional weight of the past, they continue to draw people in. And once someone hears the stories, it becomes difficult to look at New Jersey the same way again. Because behind the shore towns, suburbs, and highways, there is another New Jersey, one where the roads remember, the houses listen, and the woods still have stories they refuse to give back.